NASA Administrator Bill Nelson is scheduled to get briefed on UFOs by the UAP Task Force tomorrow, August 17th. This information was acquired by John Greenwald of the Black Vault through attainment of 2 Freedom of Information Act documents. This will not be the first time Bill Nelson has been briefed on UFOs. He actually was briefed in another capacity a while back, and this is alluded to in this July 2nd, 2021 appearance.
What you have seen on the TV recently on the Navy films, I had known about this in my former capacity in Intel and the Armed Services Committee.
It's really interesting that this will be at least the second time the current NASA Administrator Bill Nelson will be briefed on UFOs. The other time that I know about was within the capacity of the Armed Services Committee. And this upcoming briefing will be a classified briefing. And so we're all obviously really curious what that briefing is going to consist of. What kind of data will Bill Nelson be given on UAP? And interestingly, on July 12th, 2021, on the Jimmy Church radio show, Elizondo was interviewed. And he went into more depth than ever before on an infamous video that allegedly exists, which is 23 minutes of footage of potentially multiple UAP. I like to call it the Jordan video because Jordan's number is 23 and he's the greatest basketball player of all time. And this video may indeed be one of the greatest videos of all time capturing UAP. Unfortunately, it's currently classified. However, it may come out in the future. Now, I want to go into this segment in which Elizondo explains to Jimmy Church as much as he can, because it's classified, what this 23-minute video encompasses and why it is so overwhelmingly compelling. So Jimmy Church begins to ask Elizondo what this alleged 23-minute video is all about. And Elizondo begins to explain. The video is extremely compelling, one of many, to the point when I remember getting some expertise to look at it. I did not say what it was. I sent it out to some highly trained experts in the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance community. And when they came back to me, the title of the email was, quote unquote, that UFO video. Now, I never told them. They didn't have any idea what this 23-minute video was. They had no idea what our office, he's referencing to the ATIP office, was actually doing at the time. And for this little office of experts to come back and they titled the email back to me, that UFO video, is pretty telling. Here, Church continues with his questioning. What does the video look like? Is it grainy like the stuff that has already been leaked, or is this something that is definitive? Elizondo responds, no, it's definitive and it's perplexing, because every time you think, okay, that's what I'm looking at, all of a sudden, bang, it changes. I suspect at some point it's going to come out. My hope is that it will come out during like some sort of public hearing. Wouldn't that be grand, right? Everyone could see it for yourself. And there's other ones that are equally compelling. Church asks, can you describe the shape of the craft in this video? What did it look like? Was it tic-tac-ish? Elizondo responds, was not tic-tac shaped, and it was involving potentially multiple vehicles, and I'll leave it at that. Church asks, taken from gun camera footage or with a phone? An official U.S. collection censor, says Elizondo. Church asks, this is a question you can answer, which is this. With the Go Fast and the gimbal and the tic-tac, limited data there. The videos were very, very short, including 2019. He's referencing videos that were taken in 2019 that came out. All of that was a very short duration of video. Everybody wishes they were longer. Now, we're talking about 23 minutes. That's a lot of data there. That's a lot of information. Elizondo responds, absolutely it is. There's a whole lot of time to say, gee whiz, what the heck is that, right? And have other sensors to utilize to validate and verify what you're seeing. So that's a very good point. Church asks, What was the speed? Was it something that was extraordinary beyond our own capabilities? Elizondo responds, enough to make us raise our eyebrows and say, wow. Church asks, any erratic movements and excessive G-forces? Elizondo responds, peculiar movement, yes, for sure, and movement that we wouldn't really understand, patterns that we don't. I can't even go into any more than that. Church continues with his questioning. Was the craft big enough for maybe a pilot, or do you think it was just under intelligent control? Elizondo responds, well, I'm not sure it was even one craft. That's part of the mystery here. It appears that maybe there were several craft involved, and that's what's so interesting. Church continues questioning. Big enough for somebody or remotely controlled, if you're going to make a guess? Elizondo responds, certainly big enough from our context, certainly big enough that a human being or several human beings could probably fit inside. So why am I bringing up this alleged 23-minute video, which I believe exists because I assess that Elizondo is a reliable and rational human being? Reason I'm bringing it up is because the administrator of NASA is scheduled to be briefed on UFOs in a classified setting tomorrow. So the question arises, why would the head of an organization that spends tremendous amounts of money looking for life out there not be given the very best evidence the Department of Defense has on potentially life out there that is potentially engaging humankind? That would just make absolutely no sense, to the extent that this is looking like a complete comedy. If indeed Bill Nelson is not going to be able to look at the goods. Renowned astrophysicist Abel Mendez has practically stated as much. He publicly stated recently, and it was reported in the debrief.org, that if you want scientists to study UAP, then you have to give them the classified data that you have on UAP. I mean, it's just common sense. To put the 23-minute video in perspective, it's roughly 20 times greater in length than the FLIR 1 video showcasing the Tic Tac UAP. Now, I grant you that there is compelling evidence from multiple witnesses that the original of the FLIR 1 is much longer, and that what was provided to us by the government is only a snippet, and furthermore, the resolution of the original is much higher. Commander David Fravor stated that when he saw the original, he saw appendages underneath the Tic Tac UAP, something that we really can't make out in what was released by the government. So the bottom line is you don't have to believe me, but just maybe use a little common sense to at least become suspicious that this is the case. And that is, I think it's pretty obvious that the US government has longer videos and higher resolution videos, and that what we have been given so far is merely the tip of the iceberg. This is what the literature suggests over the past 70 plus years with all the various witnesses that have come forward and that are continuing to come forward to this very day. If you listened carefully when I went over the partial transcript when Elizondo was talking to Church about the 23-minute video, Elizondo said that there's other videos that are just as compelling as the 23-minute video, and he has stated before that the videos that were released by the government, that is the FLIR 1, the gimbal, and the Go Fast, are some of the least compelling videos. So it's like, okay, Bill Nelson is going to be briefed tomorrow on UFOs. Great. I am so grateful for that. And I give the U.S. government endless credit for that. You know, I'm not looking to give the U.S. government a black eye. I am looking to have a resolution to this embargo on truth, which I ascertain that, frankly, the U.S. government knows we're not alone, and they've been sequestering this data away for a whole bunch of reasons, which is beyond the scope of this production. I want to move beyond the 23-minute video and discuss an alleged photograph taken in, I believe, 2019 of a triangular-shaped aerospace vehicle. Now, this photograph has been reported to have been circulating from an intelligence report given last year by the UAP task force. Investigative journalist Tim McMillan from Recollection has stated that he had contact with multiple insiders that said not only does this photograph exist, but that it is, quote unquote, extremely clear. Interestingly, Avi Loeb of the Galileo Project has stated this is exactly the kind of photograph that he's pursuing. He has been fond of saying he wants a photograph that is such a close-up and of such high resolution that he could read the label on the craft itself, where it would say, for example, made in China or Russia, or alternatively, made by exoplanet, what have you. Now, obviously, he's being metaphorical here. There's going to be no label on the craft, but what he's getting at is that if he can get a high enough quality photograph, that could give us some very powerful insights on where it may originate from. Now, this alleged photograph that was circulating last year within an intelligence report given by the UAP task force of a triangular shaped vehicle is said to be a vehicle that emerged from the ocean, which means it's capable of transmedium travel, which, by the way, at this scale is not known to exist within human civilization. In other words, it is not known that any nation state has cracked such high-level technology. And furthermore, with such a high-resolution photograph, we could be able to potentially ascertain if it has any obvious form of propulsion, which could lead to other questions like how exactly is it flying? Why have our intelligence agencies never seen such a vehicle being developed by adversaries and so forth? In other words, this photograph itself could be evidence that we are not alone in the universe. The exact evidence that Avi Loeb is pursuing. And allegedly, this vehicle came out of the ocean. In fact, here is an excerpt from The Sun publication that goes into this. Andy McGrillen from UAP Media UK, a team set up to campaign for a more open and serious discussion on UFOs in Britain, told The Sun Online, the much talked about black triangle picture is one that has had much of the community excited for some time. Recently, I have been informed that the photo is of a craft that was initially tracked underwater, then emerged, climbing to an altitude of 35 to 40,000 feet when an aircraft's onboard system took a high-fidelity image. The triangular object was reported as having rounded edges with lights on each of its corners. There were no obvious signs of propulsion. Something like this will surely be highly classified given the nature of the equipment taking this picture. However, if it did make its way into the public domain, it could be a key piece of evidence demonstrating that we are truly in the presence of some other intelligence. Here's another excerpt from the article by journalist Tom Rogan of the Washington Examiner regarding the alleged photograph. He told The Sun Online, it's the tip of the iceberg, but we will see more leaks of UAP imagery and data in the coming years. The Pentagon should get ahead of the curve and officially release more material. The last piece of forensic evidence that allegedly exists that I want to speak of is a video capture that Elizondo has stated exists from the cockpit of an airplane in which the object being recorded is only 50 feet away. I mean, that is absolutely mind-boggling. I can't even conceive of the level of detail that would be acquired taking imagery or video footage of a UAP 50 feet away. Now, how amazing is it that something like that has been captured and no one can figure out what it is? And who knows, maybe it's like a flying saucer or a triangle or a sphere, and there is literally no obvious sign of propulsion and everyone's scratching their head. What is this? Where is it coming from? Why do we have no intelligence on an adversary being able to create some kind of machine like this? I'm feeling in a little bit of a celebratory mood and thankful to my creator to be where I am in this universe, experiencing this process with all of you on this beautiful planet. And so that's all I really wanted to say. And I'm going to leave you with a quote of mine that I put on Twitter today. And I want you all to contemplate it. Some of you will think I'm crazy, and I respect that. Some of you will think that my assessment is intelligent, and I respect that too. Please don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next episode, and I'm wishing Bill Nelson all the best of luck in his UAP briefing that takes place tomorrow. I believe history will look back at the past 70 plus years with laughter and awe. All school books and college curriculums will discuss the UFO cover-up and the ultimate resolution to it, and will discuss UFO shapes and the fact that humanity is being engaged by non-human intelligence. Special thanks to all my patrons, YouTube members, those that have bought merch, and those that have given me one-time donations. I couldn't do it without you, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.